How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another box to box. The fixtures are coming thick and fast and it's only going to get worse in September with Europa League around the corner. The draw is tomorrow, or as this video comes out, the draw has already been done, so it'll be interesting to know who Arsenal have got in the group stages of the Europa League. But before all that, we're back here, 5:30 Saturday kickoff against Fulham, and I've got Jack with me from Fulhamish YouTube channel. What are you saying, Jack? All good?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Nice to be here.
Yeah. Listen, it's been a little while since Fulham have been in the league. Obviously, what was it, a year out?
A year out. So 2 years ago.
Yeah, only a couple of years then. But,
Yeah, but it feels like it's every year, doesn't it?
yeah, it does feel very up and down with Fulham. But how are you feeling having started the season in the fashion you started it in? And by that I mean, 1 win, 2 draws. You started the season against Liverpool, pulled out a performance. They're unlucky not to get the victory, really. But how are you feeling?
Yeah, good. To be honest, I think this is it. Like Fulham, first 3, you'd have given us 5 points, we'd have bitten your hand off for those. Obviously, the Liverpool game, great start, dominate that midfield. I think that was massive. Fulham, for years, I think the last 2 years that we've been in the Premier League, feels like Fulham have been easy to play through. Right, yeah. The midfield hasn't been there. That finished on that first game against Liverpool. Pellegrini and Reed looked brilliant there in the middle together, and obviously to come off the back of a derby win last weekend, last minute. I don't think they get much better than that. Mitrovic in the last minute having been pulled back,
especially when they pull you back rivals. And then you think the worst, yeah, but you still go on and do it.
At 2-2, as that 90th minute head in hands, been like, just get out of here with the point, get out of here with the point, and obviously big man comes up big with the winner. So yeah, it was really good. It's been a great start, and we'll see a massive test now for us against you lot, who have started the season beautifully as well.
We have, and we're going to get into Arsenal. But talk to me about the journey back into the league. Managerial change last summer, I believe.
Yeah, 100%. So Scott Parker left. Protracted saga with Bournemouth has sullied his reputation a bit around, with Fulham fans now. Who he got us up. There was an element of that kind of hero worship to beat Brentford in that playoff final as well. Then obviously it didn't go to plan in the Premier League. He ostracised Mitrovic and then went through this sort of 3-month period where he was flirting with Bournemouth. Everyone was going, okay, is he going, is he not? Then tried to get compensation of the club and Bournemouth not paying a fee. So there was a lot of kind of ill will towards Scott Parker. Marco Silva came in kind of out of the blue, no links to him, came up big, and Fulham played beautiful football last season. And after the year under Parker, and to be honest, the year in the Championship under Parker as well, where it was a little bit stodgy, quite turgid, 1-0 victories with a squad that were much better than everyone else. It came to the Premier League, I could see what he was trying to do, trying to kind of grind it out, more defensively minded, stop Fulham being easy to play against. And it worked to a point, but didn't score enough goals, wouldn't play Mitrovic. You're looking at that going, not sure.
Shooting himself in the foot.
Suddenly Fulham are this swashbuckling, brilliant side under Silva. We scored 7 3 times, we scored 6 3 times. It was glorious to watch. Mitrovic smashes the record, 43 goals in the Championship. And we're back as champions, not as playoff winners as we have been the last 2 years. So that was lovely. And I think that change has given a real kick back to the Fulham fan base. It feels like everyone's a bit sort of together again under Marco Silva, that he's playing in the right direction. And I think that it'll be easier to keep even with some bad results, because bad results will come. Fulham aren't going to win this league, let's be honest. And you get to those games where there's going to be a couple of games in a row where you don't win, but it feels like there's a belief in the system, belief in the team to actually make it stick this time.
So onto this summer's transfer window, having finished top of the Championship last year. Pardon me if I'm wrong, but I believe there was some issues between Parker and the board, or the direction of the club, or the off the pitch activity. You mentioned that there was ill will at the end, and it might not be all about the relationship between him and the aboves. But how do you look at your transfer window going into this Premier League season? Did it fill you with belief and confidence?
So I think there were some questions about when the deals were done, but the players that came in, I think everyone was relatively happy with across the court. We wanted more centre backs in over the line before that first game. I think there was a lot of trepidation about Tim Ream and Tosin being the starting partnership in that first game against Liverpool, but they've proved everyone wrong so far. They've been excellent in all 3 games between them. So there's those questions. But the players that Fulham brought in, João Palhinha from Sporting Lisbon, who's the big one. Very, very good signing. A Champions League calibre player, I think. I'm not quite sure what he's doing at the Cottage, but don't tell anyone.
We'll have a look at.
No, you can't have him. Not yet, anyway. We need him this year. So one of those, you can come in and go, that's a statement signing early doors. But Leno comes in, obviously, from here. That's a big signing for us. A great shot stopper. Yes, not a perfect goalkeeper, and didn't suit what Arteta was trying to do.
Very good
fine,
goalkeeper.
But no problem as a shot stopper.
One of the best in the league.
Exactly. So Fulham are going to need to keep him out, not worry about passing from the back quite as much. So that's a big signing. You look at the rest of them that have come in, and the players that come in. Mana Solomon playing Champions League football last year. Kevin and Babu playing Champions League football last year. These are players who are of a good quality and I think have a point to prove. So the business before the season was done, really good. I think we just wanted a couple more players through the door, and I think there's going to be a couple more over the next week or so.
Yeah, and you mentioned Mitrovic's record-breaking season last season. Pereira started this season
Yeah.
well. But on to Arsenal, and we were discussing it off camera. What a difference 12 months made.
Yes.
Last year, 3 games into the Premier League season, no points, 9 goals conceded, bottom of the league. This time round, 3 games, 3 wins, 9 goals scored, a couple conceded, top of the league. Outside looking in, Jack, thoughts and feelings around Arsenal, Mikel Arteta, and the process that everyone's been talking about the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think, look, last year, you look at those first 3 games, right? And we spoke very briefly about this. Brentford on the first day, at their first stadium in their first game ever in the Premier League, it's always going to be a bit of a task, right? And we've seen this year, newly promoted clubs at home on the first day is tricky, right? And then you come up against City and Chelsea, who at the time were 2 of the 3 best sides in the league.
Defending champions and defending Champions League winners.
And suddenly that 3 losses looks a little bit less sketchy than perhaps it did at the time. Obviously, the Brentford one was the big kind of, oh God, that's a bad start to the season. People put it in context, and then how you bounce back off it, it felt less drastic from the outside perhaps than it did inside. And I know how it works. You know, you obviously get these moments that everyone's feeling it, and 100% I can understand the frustrations. But I think the season, I think, proved, yes, there were flaws in this side, but the basic level of what was trying to be done was there. And I think what we've seen this summer is some brilliant recruitment, obviously in Gabi Jesus and Alexander Zinchenko first, but I'm a massive Fabio Vieira fan.
Yeah.
I think he is a quality footballer. Spent a lot of time out in Porto last year watching him, actually, and he is just a wonderful watch, a really, really quite special footballer. And I think he won't make necessarily that much of an impact this year, but as time goes on, I think that will look at a very, very good, a very astute signing, should we say.
Yeah.
And look, a couple of pieces into the mix, and William Saliba coming back off being obviously Ligue 1 Young Player of the Year, and he was sensational last year for Marseille. And I think what you're looking at here is a side that knew what it was trying to do and has brought in pieces that fit.
Yeah.
And ultimately, when you're looking at that, you go, well, obviously things are going to get better quite quickly. And the way that everyone has slotted into place, the way that Arsenal look from these first 3 games, I don't think it's going to be perfect. And perhaps this is a bit of a halcyon moment. But I do think that there's a very, very good chance that this is the season that, you know, Arsenal are back in the Champions League, because the way that the side looks, I think you need a couple more just for depth. We saw in January what happened, right? But on the whole, things look very, very rosy. I just want to see my boy KT3 back in the team, because I love that man.
Now, I love KT as well. The people out there know. Zinchenko's coming and hit the ground running.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing them both playing at the same
Yeah,
time.
see if Zinchenko makes that move into midfield, right? Because that's where I saw it as he came in. I was like, is that a long-term-ish kind of Xhaka replacement? And look, Xhaka's proved a lot of people wrong a lot of times, right? And he's had a wonderful season. I think he comes across very well at the moment in kind of general. But I do wonder if the long-term plan is to move Zinchenko into that midfield role, and we'll see how it
I'd
works.
say so. I mean, James over here at AFTV, he believes the same. Him and Robbie have a little bet this season that Zinchenko will start more games in the 8 than he will at left back. Robbie's currently leading 3-0.
Yeah, and I think he'll consider to continue leading for a little while, but we'll see.
But then James will be watching the game and saying, "Look, Zinchenko's in the number 8 position," but Robbie will turn around, but he started at left back. So
yeah. It's what the team sheet says, isn't it? It's what the team sheet says.
Nowadays, it's all about systems. It's all about fluidity. It's all about moving pieces. Mikel Arteta's learnt off Pep Guardiola, who's the best in the business. Previously to that, he was working under Arsene Wenger, who is one of the best, who's been one of the best in the business. Yeah. So you can see what Mikel Arteta's getting at. Faced a lot of criticism over the last couple of years, but it seems to be finding its form, shape now. We seem to be finding consistency. It's not the biggest game to start the season, but Arsenal have tripped up against lesser opposition before. So it's nice to see in the first 3 games we've done our job against teams we should be doing our job against.
Exactly. If you'd said those 3 games at the start of the season, you would have probably said maybe 7. Palace away is a tricky fixture, as you saw last year, but always is a tricky time going down to Selhurst. But if you'd said 7-9 points, I think that would have been the expectation. But I think it's the manner of it as much as anything, right? Arsenal look excellent, they look fluid, and everything just seems to be clicking into place.
100%. On to the game this Saturday. Jack, if you guys have any chance of winning, where are the key battles to be won? What positions are you looking at in terms of nullifying Arsenal's biggest threats? And what positions in your own side are you looking at in terms of offering the biggest threats?
I think this is the thing. This Arsenal side, much as everything else, has kind of goals from everywhere and threats from numerous positions, which is what makes it so dangerous, right? Obviously, Gabi didn't score at the weekend. Odegaard pops up with 2 goals coming in late. We didn't see that much last year, right? No. He was playing far deeper. Him popping up in the box for goals is going to be a very interesting kind of tactic as the season goes on, I think, and just seeing how he develops into that more kind of, I suppose, output-esque role, if you will. So it's hard to shut this time down. But I think where Fulham have thrived in recent games, especially in that game against Liverpool, dominated their midfield. And you look at that, Fabinho didn't get a sniff early doors.
Yeah.
Palhinha and Reed as a two, I think work really well. Obviously, Palhinha is the physical presence. He has that dominance, also good on the ball. And what he does as a kind of sitting player is he allows Harrison Reed, who is that kind of dynamo. I use the comparison loads, but he's a bit like a Kante-esque figure. Now, I'm not saying they're as good as each other, but before I get absolutely slaughtered in the comments. But is that kind of player. He likes to bomb off, like make tackles, and be allowed to kind of play off another player that allows him to kind of be dynamic, I suppose, in the middle, roam and win challenges higher up. And when he's playing as the lone six, as we've seen before, it leaves Fulham very exposed. We have less of that. So I think that midfield battle is massive. And whether Palhinha can have the stamp on the game that he's had in the last, I'd say 2 of the last 3, massive against Liverpool, massive against Brentford, fine against Wolves. But and I think that's where Fulham win or lose this, because ultimately, if the midfield gets played through, we're looking at a defence that has been shaky at times, playing against an attack of Arsenal's quality, and I think that's only going to go one way. But if you look at where Fulham can, if we can get that tight and make sure that midfield is blocked off and there's no kind of routes through there, you shut down the supply lines, things get a little bit easier. I think obviously it's still going to be difficult, but that's where things are won and lost. At the other end, I think, and I love Saliba, and I think he's excellent, but I'm yet to see him tested by a big aerial threat. Now, he survived this a bit in France last year, obviously Gaetan Laborde, that kind of player, and he was fine against them, no problem. But just swing him in and let Mitrovic, who's in that kind of feasting form at the moment, rough him around a little bit. I think that's the only way that Fulham are going to find joy in that final third. And even if it's not off the headed goals, if you can cause a bit of chaos and allow the knockdowns to come in, Pereira's been playing really close to Mitrovic and really well. And so if you can get him in and around those areas and picking up those second balls around the box, there might be a little bit of joy to be had. Fulham's wings are decimated by injury at the moment. Harry Wilson's out, Niskins Cabano is out, and Manor Solomon's out as well. So we've been playing Jay Stansfield, who's an academy product, bought from Exeter when he was young and come through and did really well against Brentford, but still raw. And Bobby De Cordova-Reid, who's incredibly versatile, incredibly hardworking, but will do more of a defensive shift, I think, in this game than anything else. So I think if it's going to come from the big man, and maybe Pereira mopping up behind him.
Well, I think that's definitely one of the key battles, one of the 2 key battles for both sides. Mitrovic against Saliba, Mitrovic against Gabriel. It'll be interesting to see how they manoeuvre themselves. I looked at the Palace away game at the start of the season as a physical test for Saliba, but the way we nullified Crystal Palace's threat, he didn't really have much physical defensive work
and less aerially work, I think. And this is where this is going to come. The aerial, I think Fulham will go for a bit of an aerial bombardment, especially from set pieces and the like. This is a big side now. Tosin, Palhinha, Mitrovic. There's a lot of big headers in here, and obviously Palhinha scored the goal against Brentford, and we've been good at set pieces for the last year or so. So there are threats there, but I think you're spot on.
And not only big players, but they're not shy to get into the challenge or get into the box and get on the end of things. On the flip side, the first 3 games of the season, we've been predominantly attacking down the left-hand side, which is a welcome change to last season, because throughout the whole of last season, Saka was our go-to. Everything went down the right. He was being double, triple teamed throughout the season, kicked to death at times. So many games would look at a challenge and think, oh, is he all right?
Please let him be all right.
Please, because last season he was our,
100%. The Ealing Eusebio, as I call him, a man from Ealing, like me. So,
And this season, it seems like with Gabriel Jesus coming in, Martinelli's picked up some form now, and a lot of the attacks are coming down that left-hand side. This weekend, I'm looking back to the right-hand side. I think Saka's due a big game. Not that I have any doubts about him, because I like that he's been going under the radar, doing his job. And I like that Martinelli's been stepping up, becoming more productive. But, it's best to have both things working in conjunction. Some games you'll offer the right side, some games the left. So I think Saka will have a massive game. You mentioned the injuries to your wingers and whatnot, which will cause, maybe not fullbacks, but which will cause problems in the transition per se. So I'm looking at Saka to have a big game. But let's get on to predictions, Jack, and end the show with a prediction. What are you saying? A smile on your face? Confident? Or?
I think this is it. Like my heart says 1-1. When Nick won and hold out and you'll get an equaliser late, my head says 2-1 Arsenal.
2-1. All right. So head says 2-1 Arsenal. Heart saying 1-1. We get that a lot. You got that a lot from me last season. Last season I was always like, my heart says this, my head says this. This season I'm more just going to go with my head. I'm going to say 3-1 again. People are used to that now. It's my 4-3-1 prediction of the season. It hasn't come through yet, but we're winning games, so it is what it is. Jack, Fulhamish, let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, Fulhamish, at Fulhamish Pod on Twitter, Fulhamish on YouTube, and I'm at Jack J. Collins.
Yeah, we'll put that in the title, people. We'll put the Fulhamish YouTube channel in the title. In the description, we'll have the socials, we'll have the YouTube channel. And look out for Jack again for the next fixture, second half of the season at the Cottage, where we're going to be picking it up again and seeing where we are at that time. Love for the love, people. Hit the like button. Give us your thoughts on lineups, predictions, star players, key battles, all of that. And yeah, tune in next time. Box to Box, we're out.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.